This is Mission Control Houston. We are live here in the International Space Station Flight Control Room awaiting the departure of the Cygnus cargo spacecraft for the Northrop Grumman CRS-18 mission. Earlier today, teams here on the ground commanded the unbolt of Cygnus from the Unity module's Earth-facing port and then maneuvered it to the release position. Right now you are seeing a live view of Mission Control Houston. Here on the ground we have Flight Director Chloe Maring leading the team in the International Space Station Flight Control Room under the call sign Lion Flight. Throughout today's operations, we will also hear from Capsule Communicator, or Capcom, Leslie Ringo, speaking to the crew aboard the space station. The Capcom serves as the voice link between teams on the ground and the station crew. Currently aboard the International Space Station is United Arab Emirates astronaut Sultan Al Niyati, who will be monitoring Cygnus's systems during its departure from the space station's cupola. In addition to Al Niyati, the space station is currently home to NASA astronauts Frank Rubio, Woody Hoberg, and Steve Bowen, as well as Roscosmos cosmonauts Dmitry Petelin, Sergei Prokopyov, and Andrei Fadeev. Together they make up the Expedition 69 crew. Robotic arm as the station orbits about 250 miles above Earth off the coast of Mexico on the Pacific side. The planned release for Cygnus is about 16 minutes from now at 6:20 a.m. Central Time, 7:20 a.m. Eastern Time. The release window opens at 6:13 a.m. Central Time, and once this release sequence has begun, we will see the robotic arm extend away from Cygnus.
Reviews of Step 2 through 6, you are go for Cygnus configuration checks. You can perform Step 2 in 1.602 Cygnus release and departure monitoring.
Copy Step 2 of 1.602 Cygnus release and departure monitoring.
Copy.
You just heard Capcom Leslie Ringo communicating with United Arab Emirates astronaut Sultan Al Niyati aboard the space station as he begins his tasks for monitoring Cygnus's release. Following the release of Cygnus at 6:20 a.m. Central Time, 7:20 a.m. Eastern Time, the vehicle will cross the keep-out sphere at approximately 6:20 7:45 a.m. Eastern Time. The keep out sphere and approach ellipsoid are both invisible lines around the space station monitored by the flight controllers on the ground. After the vehicle crosses the approach ellipsoid, joint operations will end and will wrap up coverage, and the responsibility for the vehicle is then handed back to the Northrop Grumman Flight Control Team in Dulles, Virginia. Following a deorbit burn this evening, Cygnus will begin a planned destructive re-entry in which the spacecraft, which is filled with trash packed by the station crew, will safely burn up in the Earth's atmosphere. From this view, you can see Cygnus in the grasp of the station's robotic arm. You can also see that one of Cygnus's solar arrays is not fully deployed. This solar array did not deploy following Cygnus's launch last fall. However, the solar array issue didn't impact capture and berthing for Cygnus, and it will not impact release and departure later this morning. Spacecraft used by the Northrop Grumman team to perform International Space Station resupply flights under the Second Commercial Resupply Services contract. Northrop Grumman names each Cygnus spacecraft in honor of an individual who has made great contributions to human spaceflight. The Cygnus NG-18 spacecraft was named the SS Sally Ride after former NASA astronaut Sally Ride. Ride made history as the first female capsule communicator and as the first American woman to fly in space. She traveled aboard the second flight of the Space Shuttle Challenger in 1983. She also served as a mission specialist on STS-41G and was considered a leader in the NASA community after retiring. Ride was dedicated to inspiring girls and young women to pursue careers in science, math, and technology. You're seeing a view of the Northrop Grumman control room in Dulles, Virginia, where they are currently polling the Northrop Grumman flight controllers for release and departure. The Northrop Grumman mission director today is Teresa Spinelli, and she is monitoring the teams and controllers in the Cygnus flight control room in Dulles, Virginia.
We're looking for confirmation if the Cygnus configuration checks are complete and if you are ready for release and departure.
Station 2, affirmative. We see good verifications of the
told go for the release and departure of Cygnus, and the crew aboard station confirmed they are ready for release as well. We are just under 9 minutes away from the scheduled Cygnus NG-18 release at 6:20 a.m. Central Time, 7:20 a.m. Eastern Time. The NG-18 Cygnus spacecraft launched aboard an Antares rocket at 4:32 a.m. Central Time, 5:32 a.m. Eastern Time on November 7, 2022, from the Mid-Atlantic Regional Spaceport on Wallops Island, Virginia. During Cygnus's trip to the station, one of the solar arrays did not deploy. However, the solar array issue didn't impact capture and berthing for Cygnus, and the cargo spacecraft successfully berthed to the International Space Station 2 days later on November 9th, 2022. During Cygnus's arrival to the station, NASA astronauts Nicole Mann and Josh Cassada captured Cygnus with the station's robotic arm. Following the capture, the spacecraft was installed on the Unity module's Earth-facing port. On its journey to the orbiting laboratory, the SS Sally Ride carried approximately 8,265 pounds of supplies, equipment, and experiments for astronauts aboard the station, including critical materials to directly support dozens of more than 250 science and research investigations that occurred during Expedition 68. The release window for Cygnus just opened at 6:13 a.m. Central Time, with a planned release at 6:20 a.m. Central Time, just under 6.5 minutes from now.
are no exercise constraints.
Hey, Leslie, with you on 2.
Yeah, we just wanted to make sure everyone was aware that we're, with the Cygnus release and backup about to start, we're in that small sliver of no exercise.
Okay, thanks for the heads up. We copy no exercise.
And Station Houston and 2 for Sultan and Cygnus.
Go ahead on 2.
We are go for Cygnus departure on time. Perform steps 3 and 4 in 1.602 Cygnus release and departure monitoring.
All right, come copy. You guys are ready, and we're going for step 3 and 4 of Cygnus release departure and monitoring.
Good to be back.
Huntsville Station on 2 for Capizor, step 2.7. With you on 2. Hey, Scott, while I still have you on S-band, I'm wondering if you can get a value for me in step 2.7 from the team.
We'll have to get you on the other side.
Copy.
We are now about 1.5 minutes away from the planned release and departure of Cygnus.
Station Houston and 2 for Cygnus. ISS thrusters are inhibited and ground M1 is go for release on time.
You copy. Thrusters are inhibited, and we are released on time.
Proceeding with release.
Teams here on the ground are beginning the release sequence.
snare is open. Begin monitoring for drift out.
And we are copy.
The snares are open, extending the carriage of the latching end effector of the robotic arm to release the Cygnus vehicle. We have release confirmed at 6:22 a.m. Central Time, 7:22 a.m. Eastern Time, with the space station traveling southwest of Ireland. From this view,
Use the station pin as exit Lee and go for back away.
Copy. Proceeding with back away.
Station copies.
from this view, we are beginning to see separation of the vehicle from the Canada Arm 2 robotic arm.
Back away in progress.
We copy.
And the robotic arm is now beginning to back away from Cygnus.
Use the station on 2 SMS to vehicle QS is of approximately 1.5 meters.
Copy 1.5.
Coming up in a few minutes, we will be standing by for the departure burn of the Cygnus to begin moving further away from station. The burn will last for about 3 minutes.
Use the station on 2, we're seeing approximately 0.5 meters SMS away from Cygnus.
And Houston copies.
You can hear United Arab Emirates astronaut Sultan Al Niyadi providing ground controllers with updates, letting them know that the space station's robotic arm was about 4.5 meters away from Cygnus.
Back away complete.
Okay, station copies, back away complete, and proceeding with departure command issuing.
Copy and following along.
The robotic arm has finished backing away from Cygnus, and we are standing by for the departure burn.
depart. Command executed.
Copy. And first upon, the Cygnus departure burn is in progress. Please monitor departure burn for step 5 and 1.602.
Alright, copy step 5 of 1.602.
The departure burn is underway, and it will last for about 3 minutes to begin moving the spacecraft further away from the space station. spacecraft and space station travel over northern Libya. Shortly after the departure burn completes, Cygnus will cross the Cape Out sphere, which is an invisible line around the space station monitored by flight controllers. The Cape Out sphere is a 200-meter sphere centered on the space station. The departure burn is complete.
And Sultan, with your last call with step 6 being complete, that means you are now out of 1.602 Cygnus release departure monitoring.
Copy 1.602 is complete and we're out of this procedure, thanks.
And please share with all crew members that the no exercise constraint is no longer in place.
Alright, station copies and we'll share that, thanks.
Cygnus has crossed the Cape Out sphere. The next milestone will be crossing the approach ellipsoid. The approach ellipsoid is another imaginary shape. This time it's a three-dimensional ellipsoid measuring 4 kilometers by 2 kilometers by 2 kilometers in the same family as the Cape Out sphere. started, continuing the certification process for using the Cygnus spacecraft as an additional reboost capability. The NG-17 Cygnus cargo spacecraft previously demonstrated this reboost capability last summer.
instruction, or if maybe it had done it spontaneously by itself.
Actually, this is me. I was following procedure of disconnecting the PCS, and I went to that UOP that the codec to the PCS is connected, and I was following the instruction to power off that UOP. And yeah, I think this is also connected to the mini workstation, so sorry, to the robotic workstation, and I heard it coming off, like the fans were off, so it is me.
Copy and checking. Okay, back with you in 2 Sultan. So we copy that you're now working the PCS relocate. So you're going to continue with that, and at the end of this procedure, we want to make sure that you repower up that UOP, please.
All right, copy, and I'll let you know when it's up.
Much appreciated. Thank you.
You can see a view of the International Space Station Flight Control Room here in Houston, Texas, where capsule communicator Leslie Ringo is continuing to communicate with the crew aboard the space station. And then next to her is the flight director, Chloe Mary. We are standing by for confirmation of crossing the approach ellipsoid, which is the final milestone for the Cygnus release and departure before joint operations end, and responsibility of the vehicle is handed back to the Northrop Grumman Flight Control Team in Dulles, Virginia.
Disconnected now, and do you want that UOP to be powered on again?
And Sultan, you are go to repower the cupola UOP.
Copy and work.
Copy all. Thank you.
I'm sorry for that confusion. Just appeared like a flexible activity on my timeline. That's why I went and disconnected the PCS.
Actually, no worries, Sultan. You actually found a fix that we need to implement, so it was a good find.
All right, thank you.
On the lower right-hand corner of your screen, you can see the console position for VVO, which is the Visiting Vehicle Officer. The VVO today is Thomas Castleberry, who serves as the guidance and navigation liaison between the space station and visiting vehicles such as Cygnus. Castleberry is also in communication with the Northrop Grumman Flight Control Team in Dulles, Virginia.
And Station Houston N2 for timeline specifically for your VOK activity.
Go ahead and
Sultan, earlier when we were working the vegetable depress cleanups, we had some missing seal issues, and so we think we have some hardware in the Node 1 Nader VOK kit that we're going to need, and so we would like for you to defer that activity at this time for restowing it, and then work any other flexible activities instead on your timeline.
Right, no problem. Defer that, and yeah, I'll wait for your call when it's ready. Thanks.
Copy. Station Houston N2 for Cygnus status. Cygnus has exited the approach ellipsoid.
Station copies. Thanks.
The Cygnus spacecraft has officially crossed the approach ellipsoid, and joint operations between the International Space Station Flight Control Team here in Houston and the Northrop Grumman Flight Control Team in Dulles, Virginia have concluded. Flight Director Chloe Maring just gave some congratulatory words to the Cygnus Mission Director in Dulles, Virginia.
Houston Station N2 for Cygnus timeline.
Go ahead, N2.
Hey, sorry if we missed this, but just curious if you might have estimated times for deorbit burn and reentry.
Copy and checking.
022904, and then 030444. Thanks so much.
You're most welcome.
The Cygnus cargo spacecraft for the Northrop Grumman CRS-18 mission, which was named the SS Sally Ride, safely departed the International Space Station earlier this morning at 6:22 a.m. Central Time, 7:22 a.m. Eastern Time. The cargo spacecraft recently crossed the approach ellipsoid in joint operations between the NASA mission control teams here in Houston and the Northrop Grumman flight control team in Dulles, Virginia concluded. The SS Sally Ride spent more than 5 months berthed to the space station after delivering over 8,200 pounds of supplies, scientific investigations, commercial products, hardware, and other cargo to the space station for NASA. Following a deorbit burn later this evening, Cygnus will begin a planned destructive re-entry in which the spacecraft, filled with trash packed by the station crew, will safely burn up in the Earth's atmosphere. Coming up on Monday, April 24th,